H&M under attack
culture.
in China. Sticks to stance with angered Beijing. This is a story from Wall Street Journal. The chief executive of H&M, Helena Helmerson, said that the fashion giant wants to be a responsible buyer, standing by a human rights position that angered Beijing and triggered the brand's disappearance from China's internet. Last week, China's leading e-commerce ride-hailing daily deals and map applications removed any reference to H&M after a statement it issued last year about not sourcing material from Xinjiang, major cotton production region in China, suddenly went viral. Alexander Shapiro, head of strategy at Beijing branding agency PBB Creative, said H&M essentially has two choices. It can keep its head down and hope the boycott ends quietly, or it could stick by its human rights stance, risking sales indefinitely. It could also preemptively pull out, a move that could benefit the brand outside China if it is seen as willing to stand up to Beijing. The attention could have been more valued than your Chinese business, he said. Thoughts?
This is China. China decides what the people can see, and China controls 100% of their media. The question is, the bigger question really is, are we becoming China? That's really the bigger question. I mean, this has been going on in China forever. China doesn't like something, you don't see it if you're a Chinese citizen. They control what all their citizens see. This is the nature of being under a dictatorship that they have. The question is that what we have here? I mean, you got a company like they canceled MyPillow. I mean, what the hell is that? I mean, this guy's just got an opinion, and all of a sudden now all these stores are throwing his they won't carry his merchandise at Bed Bath & Beyond, and all these stores decide they're not going to carry his stuff because he's a conservative. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And I don't really care what happens in China. We know this is not news in China. They do this all the time. The question is, are we becoming China?
Do you actually think we're becoming China?
We're taking steps in that direction, yes.
Because we're banning the MyPillow guy?
It's not just that. Cancel culture is...
By the way, have you ever used a pillow?
I have not.
It's not that good. It's a pillow. Relax.
Adam,
yes.
Forget about canceling the MyPillow guy.
Yeah.
We're canceling the president's interview with his daughter-in-law.
I already took a stance on that. I don't agree with that.
That's what China does. If China doesn't want something to be heard, they just shut it down. Okay, so you guys have been in America longer than I have. I've only been here since 1990. You've been here your entire life. You've been here your entire life, minus that one stint when you went out of the country to Addison, Texas. Outside of that, you've been here.
Greatest place on earth.
Never seen anything like this.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. You've never seen anything like this before. What's been the closest to today? Anything? Has anything been? I mean, was Reagan ever silenced? Was Nixon silenced? Like, let's put a Nixon. Could Nixon get on TV, do an interview, and they would show it?
Always. They've never silenced
So
Nixon.
What's worse, what Nixon did or what Trump did?
Which particular actor are you speaking of?
The reputation. The way Nixon's career ended versus the way Trump's career ended as a president. As of right now, okay? The media, the way they sold the story to the public, okay? The way the media sold the story to the public versus what really happened, okay? Here's what Trump did. He is terrible. He's a divisive guy. He's this, he's that. Okay, Nixon, Watergate, control. Doesn't let anybody in. He doesn't talk to anybody. He's a hermit. He's this, he's that, he's that.
It's hard to compare those. Those are so different.
The point I'm trying to make to you is the following. Which one had more of an argument to say he shouldn't get the platform to speak on TV, Nixon or Trump?
Neither. You can't ever say you don't get the platform. You can't say you can't speak on TV. This is what our country's all over.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's neither one of them. So the point I'm trying to make to you is right now, today's era that we've had, today, for me, all I know is last 31 years. I don't know nothing past 31 years, okay? You go past 31 years, could any president get on and just give their speech and give their thoughts, a past president say, here's what I think about what's going on? Was there any time where anyone was silenced?
No.
Ever?
I can't remember.
Forget about 31 years. We're talking about the last 6 months. So it's not like Trump was silenced in 2020. He was silenced since January of 2021. We're talking 3-4 months at this point.
No, wait a minute. He was silenced beginning October.
He was fact-checked.
Yeah, beginning October. Anything he said...
No, since November, since he lost the election.
No. He started anything he would post saying, watch them use this against me. From that moment on, they would always fact him at the bottom saying, hey, this is not... So from October, he started getting pushed around by social media.
By the way, I have no problem with fact checks.
I don't either.
By the way, is there such a thing on social media as does any of the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, do they employ any conservative fact checkers? Is there a single one? fact checking the left.
I don't know. I don't know
just get
their,
to say whatever the hell they
job
want.
qualification
Yeah,
situation.
you have to be a lefty.
I don't think that's I think there are
That's
people
who people that go into it are lefties.
Stop.
I don't think that I'm a lefty. I'm coming to work for Google. I don't think that's how it works. I think they're looking for qualified candidates.
Okay, got it. So going back to it, you've never seen nothing like this before. What's going on
Listen,
today?
people have boycotted, companies for things they don't like. I remember it was maybe 15, 20 years ago, they were going to play the Masters, and since the Augusta National had no women members, there was a women's group, I can't remember who it was, that headed it up, and they said, we're boycotting. You know, they were marching outside, and what they did was they decided we're going to try to get them to not buy the products from Cadillac or IBM or those. And then what the Masters said was, what Augusta National said was, fine, you don't want to buy. We'll tell you what, we're not going to take any advertising this year. That way you can boycott all you want, do whatever. And eventually it went away. But to literally cancel someone and say you can't be in our store, I mean, corporations to start pandering to it's just insanity.
Well, speaking of, hi Jen. We have appearance by Jennifer Bette David.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't happen.
What's going on here?
Why don't you say hello to everybody real quick on
Jen,
camera?
come
Just
on
say
camera.
hello.
Say hi. She's 6 months
How many
pregnant.
weeks do we have left, babe?
Huh?
How many weeks we got left?
So I'm 28 weeks on Saturday.
12?
So yeah.
We got. How you feeling? You feeling good?
Bring it.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
She's sitting last night doing homework with the kids. We had to work with Tico yesterday on how to write what he learns. By the way, good story on what I told Tico. She was there. This was a hilarious story.
Yeah.
So I feel uncomfortable you standing up, babe, but I'll tell the story
Get you
real
a
quick.
seat?
So
No.
here's what happened yesterday. It's a funny story.
Yeah.
So Tico has a hard time reading and putting what he read on paper. He doesn't like to do that. He just likes to read. Give him a book. He reads through 2-3 books. You give it to him, he'll be done with it, right? So he's reading this Jackie Kennedy book, and I say, so what did you learn from the book? So he writes, Jackie Kennedy's husband was a former senator. The next sentence is, they lived in such and such. 2 sentences. I'm like, you got to give me more than this. I said, let me ask you a question. Do you ever want to make movies? He says, yeah. I said, you're going to write scripts with movies? He says, of course. I said, when you write scripts about a movie, what Spielberg, what some of these guys would do is it's all about details. You got to give details. He says, give me an example. I said, let me write a script for you. He says, what's that? I said, so one day, this boy walks out in the backyard. When he goes in the backyard, he hears a noise and a shadow. It's dark. He can't see anything. He opens the door to go to the backyard. All of a sudden, he hears something run to the side. So he looks to the right. He's wondering what it is. As he walks closer to the chair, he sees a splash in the water, sees a shadow under the water moving, looks over there to see what it is. He hears a sound to the right again. I said, that's what you got to do. He says, continue with the story.
Yeah, he wanted to know what
He says, so what happens?
What was in the water? What was it?
I'm like, the point I'm trying to make to you. He said, no, go, continue. So I'm
Was it
like,
a
I got to
snake?
finish.
Was it a
So I
snake?
finished this. I said, so he moves the chair. Cockroach jumps out. So it's okay, it's nothing crazy. Then he gets closer to the pool. He looks over the water. He sees the shadow moving. Next thing you know, someone behind him pushes him in the pool. Then when he falls in the pool, it's dark. He sees this shadow swing up to him. Guess what it was? What? It was his dad playing a prank on him. Oh, what a great story that. I said, now write it like that. This was yesterday, 2 days ago with Tico. But anyways, thank you for this, babe.
Thank you, Jen.
And FYI, so everybody knows, is this coffee?
No.
What is
Does
that?
your husband drink coffee?
No.
Okay.
Does your husband need coffee?
No.
Not at all.
That's the real
Not
question.
at all.
This tea, it's his favorite tea. It's called a London Fog. They make it at Starbucks. It's tea mixed with hot milk and a few pumps of vanilla.
Mixed with it always comes with lipstick
It
on
always
it, just so
comes
you know.
with-
Mine
She took
always
a
comes
sip.
with
She took
lipstick. Every day I get, I'm like, well,
Nice.
she
Not
took
bad.
a sip out of it.
That's
So
a
I,
sexy cup of
Because I
tea.
Yeah.
have to taste it to make sure they did it right, so I taste both of them.
You're
She's the
amazing.
canary in the coal mine.
Yeah,
right?
she is.
Can we give a quick shout out to Jen for a second? I don't know what you're doing with your skin, but like it's incredible. You're glowing, 0
I don't
blemishes.
know. It's probably pregnancy.
Is that what it is? That was my next. I never.
You ought to
been-
try it. You ought to get
I
pregnant.
should get
sometime.
pregnant. I'll
See
see
what
what-
happens to you.
I'll see what I can do.
That's what they say. They say it makes you glow. I'm like, well, I'll take it.
Well, your skin looks ridiculous.
Thank you. Thank
So-
you. All right,
Awesome.
enjoy.
Thank you, baby. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jen.
Okay, so where were we
Nice
at?
little appearance. Well, let
Yes.
me.
Cancel culture.
Okay, we're at cancel. I think we were right at the point where they're canceling H&M and they're
it's
banning
out of
H&M.
control. It's completely out of
and they,
control. And
what,
you know
what
what?
was the story with Augusta that you were?
They
saying?
boycotted it, but the
Boycotting,
bottom line
yes.
is I don't think this is where the American people are. I don't think the American people like cancel culture. I don't like them canceling comedians, anything. I mean, a guy like Don Rickles could not survive today.
That's
Just
true.
couldn't do it. And
Well,
he was
look
hilarious.
at our friend Bill Burr. He's somehow making it out there.
Very few. But
Yeah.
there was an interesting YouTube video about Bill Burr we were talking about yesterday, how this one guy has analyzed how he does it and how he comes to both sides and he brings people in. And when he realizes that he's stepped in doo-doo, he knows how to get out of it very quickly by either self-deprecation or he does something.
I'm a comedian. I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean,
it's the best. It's the comedian defense. Pat's looking into that, from what I understand.
I won't mind doing it. You have no idea how much I'm looking forward to doing. One day,
Let's
stand
do
up.
it.
I go 5-10 minutes at a local club here. I show an appearance opening. And then if I like it, I may do it once a month. Who knows if I like it.
Oh,
So
you're going to like it.
If I like it, I may do it once a month.
Because here's the good
but
thing. Here's what's going to happen.
What's
Because you're
that?
going to do it, and there's going to be one of two outcomes. You're either going to crush it, clearly, because you're
Yeah.
awesome at this, and you're going to get a taste of it, and you're like, I want to do that again. Or you're going to bomb, and you're going to say, I freaking can't go out like that. I got to come back.
So
So
regardless.
100%.
So what are you banking on, though? Bomb or killing it, crushing
I
it?
think you're going to crush it, and you're going to get a feel for, damn, this is funny.
Yeah.
And then here's the
Add
comedian
another
defense.
thing to my list of things to do.
When you because I did comedy for many
Yeah.
years, and then I got into finance, and I opened up a comedy club in South Beach. Shout out to Bodega, shout out to Ricky's. You can always say, well, I was joking, I'm a comedian. Like, it's a great defense. Guys, don't take me seriously. I'm joking over here.
John Stewart got away with
Kind
that.
of like
for
kind
us.
of like
amazing.
kind of like Louis C.K. on that
Exactly.
last Saturday Night Live
But
episode.
last point, just about H&M,
not
speaking of
me.
boycotting. Can you remember a few years ago they came out with a shirt? They were all up in the news. They had a little black kid, cute little black guy, 10-year-old kid, and the shirt, ironically, was coolest monkey in the jungle. Do you remember this ridiculous
No.
situation that
No.
they had?
You know what I'm laughing at? I'm laughing
Yeah.
at the guy saying Adam would cancel PBD on Twitter if it got him an extra 100,000 followers. Joseph Smith.
They're canceled, Joe. Yeah.
Go ahead,
okay.
keep on.
So
So
this
this-
was a big deal for
Yeah.
H&M. I think this happened maybe 2018.
Never saw this. Never saw
Okay,
this.
how
Wow.
ridiculous is that? Cute little kid, maybe 6 years old, coolest monkey in the jungle. Are you flipping freaking kidding me? So they had to walk that back, apologize, all that. So ever since then, they've definitely taken a bigger.
Is this a spoof or
This is not a spoof. This is real life. This is actually the shirt.
wait,
so-
this cannot be real?
This is real.
And that was the model
This is
they
real.
used?
Yes.
How,
Yeah. Try doing that today.
how much? What year is this? I'm actually.
I'm guessing 2018. I'm guessing.
and nothing happened to them.
Oh, no. Backlash, boycott, all that. So obviously in the last 2 or 3 years, they said, holy shit, we got to clean up our act a little bit. Is that ridiculous or no?
That's-
You didn't know about this story?
Well, let me tell you, whoever was the CMO, the marketer, ought to be fired.
Oh, they
because
were.
If you have half a brain, you ought to know that just makes no sense right there.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
What was your outcome of going
what's my
this
point?
route?
What's my
Because-
point? So obviously H&M had to kind of get woke.
Whoa.
And they had to basically start taking stances on things like
Yeah.
China, because this whole story started with basically they're speaking up against human rights in China, which obviously I totally agree with Byron. You know, you either play ball with China, you STFU, get out of the way, lose your funding, get canceled,
Yeah.
and potentially disappear like our friend Jack Ma. But the bigger question here with China and H&M is, you ever shopped at H&M?
Never been there.
Oh, maybe once.
My favorite store to shop at. Are you kidding me?
I know it's your favorite store.
What do they have?
That's
What-
the best deal in the. Anyone
store?
who needs new clothes, and they're like, "Well, I'm not sure where to go because I'm all about to save that money." H&M is ridiculous. You can go there and spend $300 and have an entire new wardrobe. It's amazing. So shout out to
check it out.
H&M. Just don't get those sweaters with the coolest monkey. in the
What
jungle. You don't
percentage of
want
the
that.
population do you think is, if they had to vote, thumbs up or thumbs down on where the country's going in terms of wokeness and being for more wokeness or less wokeness? Where do you think the country? Do you think the country's like, yeah, we got to get more woke, or the country is, most people are like, this is such a bunch of crap?
The majority of people are not in the woke camp, is what I'm assuming.
In the woke camp, or
No.
do they agree with it?
No,
or
I
think they
cancel-
need to
I
learn?
think cancel culture is a fad, and it will be phased out, as all this stuff. But don't forget, Byron, when you were 20 years old, you were voting for freaking Jimmy Carter. You were a hippie. You were smoking grass. Whatever you were doing, now you're conservative with
I
money.
can't see
Things
Byron
change.
smoking weed. But go ahead.
I said grass.
Yeah.
So things change over time. So Things
I
will
will just say
evolve.
that
Thoughts will evolve.
what is politically correct changes over time. In the 1960s, what was politically correct was to hate the war, be against the war, march against the war.
Which
peace,
turned out to be the
peace,
frickin' right
I understand peace, love,
side of the coin on that.
our veterans came back and they were treated just. It was embarrassing.
They were
embarrassing.
spit on. I think it's horrible.
Unbelievable.
Horrible.
So embarrassing. It almost makes me want to cry. I mean, it is so embarrassing the way
Yeah.
we treated our veterans, and that's what was politically correct.
That's messed up.
And it's just nowadays you thank them for their service. Even Vietnam vets, you
Yes.
go back and say, my God, you went. A lot of people
Yeah.
didn't go. They went to Canada. They got some sort of bone spur or whatever. Everybody's got an excuse.
Yep.
My point is that political correctness changes. There's no immutable truth, and they act like, oh my God, you can't say that, you can't do that, you do that, you're going to get canceled, and you do get canceled. People worry about being canceled. People worry about mistakes they've made. I don't believe that when people make mistakes, they should not be able to earn a living. I think they should pay the price for their mistakes, and they should be able to earn a living. I don't think you should cancel a comedian. I mean, I don't think you should cancel Louis C.K. for whatever he did. I don't think you should cancel Kevin Spacey for what he did. If he committed a crime, let him pay the price for the crime. But he's a great actor. Let him act. I mean, he's good at what he does. I just don't think it's fair to cancel people's ability to support their families and do what they do just to make your point.
The question is, who's making those decisions of being afraid to, sit there and say, yeah, let's go ahead and shut down. Let's go ahead and cancel this thing here because we're going to get so much backlash. That's who the problem is. The problem is who's caving in. Who's caving? That's the problem.
That's correct. That's correct.
The problem isn't complaining. That's been going on for thousands of years.
Right.
The problem is a kid comes complaining to dad and says, you won't realize what the other one did. And, oh, my gosh, what did they do? Are you kidding me? The teacher said this. Let me call the teacher right now. They will never talk to my son like this ever again, like hypothetically, right?
You're right.
So it's the parents that's the fault, not the complainer. I think the complainer is never going to go away.
I think we've been conditioned. We have been conditioned to become offended by just about everything, and it's just annoying as hell. The only thing that offends me, really, truly offends me, or upsets me about, is when someone gets offended or upset or triggered about something that's not worth getting triggered about. That's what offends me. Like, get over it? Give me a break. I mean, you see all these sports teams changing their names. They're caving to cancel culture, if you will. I mean, the Washington Redskins. I mean, you heard what happened.
Of course,
he
the
WFT.
WFT.
Finally, after all these years, what Dan Snyder, I think his name is. He finally, did you hear his speech when he decided he said, yeah, after all these years, I've been hearing pressure. Finally, we don't want to offend anybody anymore. So, moving forward, starting Monday, the Washington Redskins are now just going to be known as the Redskins.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.